Good morning, Vix. How are you doing?
Good morning, Meglani. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good, good. What time is it right now?
It's 8:30 a.m., Meglani.
Wow, wow,
And what time is
8:30.
it for you? It's around 4 p.m.,
It's
right?
it's 3:30 in the evening,
Okay.
and I believe it should be 9 o'clock for people in India, and
Yes.
and I think these are the three main important times that I track.
Yes.
Actually, there's one more: West Coast, East Coast, because you've got two times, right?
Yes.
And those times are going to change this year, or
No,
have they
they've
changed?
already changed. They've already
Have they
changed a
already
couple of weeks
changed?
ago.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, lovely, lovely. We've got
Yeah,
still
for
about
people for people living in India, they don't get to enjoy the 2 times in a year when clocks have to be changed.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, we still have about a week and a half to go before our clocks move forward. But
Yeah.
anyways, welcome everyone. Welcome to our weekly Wednesdays. This is our second live episode, and we will be seeing you every week on Wednesday at this time. And here we will only or mainly discuss things about AI, things like what is AI, some of the basics. We've covered the history, a very brief history of AI in the last week. We will keep adding to that because today's present is going to be history next week. So, and AI is moving very fast. So, join us every week if you can, and you will get to know uh, what we are keeping a track on in our day-to-day life. Just as a recap for people who are joining for the first time, Vix is an entrepreneur. He's based in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. I'm an investor, mainly in early stage venture capital, based in London, but very eagerly following what happens in the US and in India. These are the three. There is one more market, which is the big driver of AI, as we will all agree. Or disagree, and that is China. But unfortunately, I don't know enough about the Chinese culture or the market, and definitely not the language. But I try to make sure that what happens in China. Vix, what has China done this week? Every week we are hearing
So
big things from China.
yeah, so China just released a product which uses Anthropic's Claude as the foundation model, and then it has vector search built into it, and
Which product? Which product?
it's just called Manus. Like
Yeah, yeah,
having grown up in Bengal, I call it Manus because that's what I grew up with. And Manus
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
like Admi,
Yes, yeah.
human being in
You
Bengali.
mentioned it last Wednesday about
Yes,
manners, and have you had a chance to look through it now?
yes. I've had a chance to look through it, and I have liked using this, and I think this is just like people have to remember that how we used to have those old phones which had rotary dials, right? From
Yes,
rotary dials, we came to the cell phone age, right? From iPhone age, and between the rotary dial and the iPhone age, there were various stages. And I think Manus to me is one step forward. I think it makes me feel that ChatGPT is it probably makes you feel that ChatGPT is the rotary phone, and this one is the wireless phone that we used to have at home. You know, like you could just walk around the house, but you cannot go outside the house with that
got it,
wireless
got
phone.
it.
It's
So
gotten
you've been
into that
using
level.
it, Vix. And is it fine? I mean, can you give us a 5 minute demo for me and for some of our viewers,
Sure,
how you like it? Because I'll be honest, I have started at doing it, but I probably don't know as much as you, and I'd love to see for myself also how
sure,
good it is, and does it pass our test? Does
sure.
it
Let me
pass
see if
the
I
Wix
can.
and Mix test on AI Wednesdays? But how about
Perfect.
this? We'll come to that in about 15 minutes. We'll spend the second
Okay,
half on Manus. Let's very
okay.
quickly cover what else. What have you tracked this
Oh,
week?
so around 20 miles from where I live, like half an hour driving distance from where I live, there was a big keynote address. Almost more than 10,000 people attended it in a big stadium. It was the NVIDIA's annual keynote, and uh, Jansen, the CEO of NVIDIA, the founder of NVIDIA, he got up on the stage and he talked for around 2 hours, and that was very interesting. And one of the key things that he said
Wait,
during that,
just remind me. Just remind me. Was this an NVIDIA event or was this part of a much
NVIDIA.
larger event?
No, so this is the NVIDIA event. This is the NVIDIA's annual conference. I
Hmm.
think it's a 3-day event, and it starts with a keynote given by the CEO where he lays out what he's learned, what he has found out, and what he thinks is the future of NVIDIA. And because NVIDIA is very directly linked to AI, what he's saying also is like what's happening with AI, what's the next step, and so on.
Well, NVIDIA is the backbone of AI, and I also heard about this event. I read about a bit about his keynote, and I believe it's a 2 hour keynote. I've got it in my
Yes,
save for the weekend to-do
yes,
list that I want to wear it. Hear about it. But one thing that I was very, I mean, it struck me when I was reading about this event, this 3 day event that you're saying. NVIDIA are themselves holding a 3 day event of their own, and it is so big. Obviously,
yes,
because NVIDIA is like the backbone of the entire AI world, at least in the last 3 or 4 years.
yes,
I mean, had there been no GPU 100, for instance, I mean, I don't think we would have reached anywhere in the last 3 years. Um,
yes.
but yeah, but that's good. So I heard someone was calling it the Super Bowl of AI. Is
You know,
that
he
right?
called it the Super Bowl of AI.
Did
The
he?
CEO
Okay.
himself called it the Super Bowl of AI. And
Hmm.
like we also have to take it with a pinch of salt because his job, like a CEO, foremost is the salesperson, right? He has to keep telling the vision, the dream, and the idea. So yeah, he said that it was so big that it's as big as the Super Bowl. He called it the Super Bowl of AI. Yeah.
Right. And what all things did he cover? Did he cover more about the infrastructure, or did he also cover the uses of their existing GPUs?
Sure. So I'll break it down into 3 points, the three key takeaways that I had. The first key takeaway was he said that the amount of compute, the amount of GPUs, the computers or the computer part that runs these AI models that he thought were needed a year ago, today he thinks 100 more multiplied by 100 is needed. So that's a big thing, right? When the CEO of NVIDIA goes and the founder of NVIDIA goes onto the stage and says that within 1 year, I have multiplied my own estimate of the amount of computation or the calculations or the hardware that his company makes that is needed by the world has gone up 100 times.
But
That's
Vix,
a
that is like saying, see, they make chips. They want more people to use more compute and
sure.
etc. There was a time 2.5 decades ago when I was in marketing, and we were marketing toothpastes and soaps.
Yes,
That's almost like me going and saying, telling people, you know what, you should have a shower 10 times a day, and you should brush your teeth 5 times a day.
yes, yes. So,
I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, I'm not
yeah,
disagreeing. See, don't get me wrong. I'm
yes,
not disagreeing
yes.
that you need more compute power, but don't you see a bit of a irony there?
Not irony. What I see is that what he's saying is we have to take it with a grain of salt, and we have to use our own analytical abilities to see how much of it do we believe and how much of it we don't believe. And then he also gave reasons of why he thinks the world, like his own estimate of how much compute the world needs, will
Yes.
go up has gone up by 100 times in his own mind.
Okay.
And I actually agree with him, like because I see that in my own usage of the product, and I'll be happy to give a demo of Elon Musk's product, which is the uh, Grok, the Grok product.
Grok.
And yes, and anytime I forget something nowadays, I get worried about the dementia gene that got detected in my DNA. But yeah, the Grok product, I'd be happy to give a demo of that, and you'll see that the Grok product is doing so much more AI work than what GPT-4 does. So we can open GPT-4, we can ask the same question to GPT-4, and ask the same question to Grok, and you'll see Grok doing probably 100 times more AI work to give us the answer. And there, Grok's answer is better, the thinking model's answer. So there are two models, right? One is the one-shot model. You ask it, what is the square root of 69? And it will just give you the answer right away. And the other one is the thinking model, where it will say, it will calculate the answer, then it will actually put it in the formula and make sure 13 squared is 69 and 69 square rooted is 13. It will do all those multiple steps and then give you the answer. So you'll see that the thinking model actually does a lot more computation. So
So is that the reason that Jensen Huang said that we because there is more analytical models happening, so it is 100 times? Is that the main reason?
yes,
Why is it
yes,
100
I
times?
yes, because last year at this time we were still in the GPT-4 era, and we were not in the era where the models were actually doing thinking in the runtime. They were just one-shot model. You ask a question, and the model will give you an answer within a second. But this time, when I ask Grok a question, sometimes it thinks for 60 seconds before it comes back with an answer. So that thinking for 60 seconds is computation that's happening. And that, to my eyes, it looks like, yeah, it is 100 times more thinking that is happening. And that's why the AI is able to give better answers too. So,
Okay.
and
You
and
said there
this
were three main points. So the first one
yes,
was 100 times computational ability.
yes.
And yeah, what else did he cover? I heard, and I don't want to preempt you, but did he talk about robotics and what AI
Yes,
and robotics are now merging together?
yes. So and that was the second point I wanted to cover. What he is presenting is that look, there'll be three stages going from here. One is generative AI. That's the stage we are in right now. And
Yeah.
then we're just entering the agentic AI stage. And we talked about it last week. And it felt very good when he used the words from our podcast. I think he might have listened to it, where he said, these are agents that have decision-making power. They have principal-agent relationship, where they have agency. So that felt very good. So he said the agentic. And he defined the third stage, which he called the physical AI. And he defined the physical AI as the robots in our home moving around and taking care of our clothes or cooking us breakfast and so on. So he defined like right now we're in the generative AI stage. We'll have agentic AI stage and then the physical AI stage. The three eras almost. So and that's a very interesting viewpoint. See, Milani, uh, do I spend probably me and my wife together? Do we spend 2 hours a day just taking care of the house, like cooking, cleaning, uh, and stuff like that? And would we pay a reasonable amount of money to have a robot do it? Yes, we will. But will we accept a 100-pound robot in our home, which can go haywire and start running after us? That would take require a lot of confidence, like because it's a piece of machine which can hurt us. So, and also whether the piece of machine will be able to have as many such good learning ability that it can adapt to different kitchens, different utensils, different people want different kinds of breakfast, and everybody's garbage is thrown at a different location. Everybody's garbage is not thrown at the same location. So, uh, people like Jensen are very optimistic about that. See, I've been in technology started doing tech in 1993. So it's been like 32, 33 years. And, and I know how sometimes you hit a roadblock and then it takes ages to overcome that roadblock. I hope we don't hit the roadblock. I hope uh, that when we actually go to Mars, there's a robot on top of that ship that goes to Mars and so on. But at least that's what he was saying. So from my point of view, I can see generative AI taking 100 times more compute. I can see agentic AI requiring a lot more compute. Physical AI, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm ready to accept a robot in the home, and I'm not sure if a robot can be capable to deal with uh, different kinds of homes and so on. And nothing
But
that
I
I've
guess
seen
that's
makes
what he
me feel
said.
that
From
it
what
can.
I'm hearing from you, is that's
Yes,
what he said, that we are just starting the second phase. And
yes,
obviously, we are not into that third phase enough that you
yes,
get that confidence. By the time we reach there, I'm sure
yes.
people will get that confidence about the third stage.
I hope so. I hope so. Yes. And
Hmm.
the third key takeaway that I had was like you drive a Tesla, Miglani, and I'm sure you use the full self-driving, the latest software, and it's gotten pretty good. Like, are you using it, Miglani?
I don't even use the partial self-driving.
Okay,
I hate it, but there are some overrides that uh, I can't. I don't have a choice. So,
sure,
but yes.
sure. So, in my experience, what I've heard is that Tesla can drive people from San Francisco to Los Angeles without needing any intervention in the latest version of the software. So that's very impressive. So the third key takeaway I had was that look, General Motors, Ford, uh, and all these other companies will also need similar capabilities, right? Like if Tesla will not be the only company which can do this, and he announced that look, we can do everything that Tesla can do. We have our simulation computers that can teach the car how to drive, and then we have computers inside the car that can do the driving in real time. And he said that he has signed a partnership with General Motors. Yeah, and he was saying that he has signed a partnership with General Motors where General Motors will be using the NVIDIA hardware for self-driving. So I do think that all of the manufacturers will have to have self-driving to stay in the market, and then that can be a big market for NVIDIA. So
But is that
those are
big,
my
Vix? Is that big? Tying up with General Motors. I mean, are they going to beat Tesla? Doesn't Tesla use NVIDIA chips at all?
So Tesla does not use the NVIDIA chips in the car. It only uses the NVIDIA chips for training with the video in the data center. So, but see, look, Tesla will not be the only car on the road. There will be other cars on the road, right?
And
General Motors,
the biggest electric cars right now are the Chinese manufacturers, which people outside China don't even know. They are the
yeah,
China is big on EV.
yeah,
I mean, there's
China
no
is very
bigger
big in
market.
EV.
I
Yes,
mean, not Europe, not US, not
yes.
India. It is China, which is the biggest EV market in the whole world.
Yes, yes, and China does have a competing software to have Tesla's self-driving car, and at least I hear on Twitter that it's a pretty good software.
Hmm.
So and because NVIDIA chips are not allowed to be sold in China, at least the high-end chips, I wonder if China also is doing the training on Huawei chips because Huawei
Hmm.
also is making chips to do training now. So, but I do think that General Motors and Ford will end up using something like NVIDIA, and that's going to be a big market. Look, everyone's not going to buy what Elon Musk makes. Like I was sad to see. I've at least seen 10 Teslas being lighted up on fire in the last 10 days.
Well, I
Uh,
definitely want to discuss that, but that is a topic for Friday.
sure.
And for those watching this, if you don't know, we discuss on Wednesdays, we discuss AI and only AI and something relevant to AI. And we discuss everything under the sun, which is not AI related or not directly related to AI, like what happened to Tesla, what does Trump do now, what happened, how does CBS see. You can see all these. We've been doing it every Friday, and we'll have it in 2 more days. So, Vix, um, put a bookmark. I definitely want to hear more about what's happening around you with the Tesla showrooms. But
Sure.
I'll tell you one thing, and I still need to see the Nvidia the keynote.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah. I
one
think you should
point
see
that
it too.
sparked my interest,
Hmm.
which is why I really want to read it, is something which they have. They call Spark. I think they call the Spark Station or something like that, which is data center level AI to put
Hmm.
in your personal workstations, personal
Okay.
laptops, personal. So it's your data center type GPUs, and how do you get it down to in your personal laptops?
Sure.
And that is what I want to hear. Uh, what is this age of AI? How can we have AI laptops, which every company is selling? But I've always
Sure.
been skeptical for the last 6 months in getting that, because how will that replicate the GPU and chips that which are big? I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, those GPU chips are like this big, one chip.
Yes.
It's not like those tiny
Yes.
chips like a SIM card.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's one chip is this big,
Yeah.
one
It's bigger
GPU.
than a yeah. It's bigger
Yeah,
than a book, and it produces a lot of heat also.
exactly. So
Yeah.
how will they bring it inside a personal computer is my
Yes.
biggest question, which I really want to see this, and I will catch up on the weekend and see the 2 hour thing. But one more thing, Vix, I was thinking when you were talking about the three levels of AI.
Hmm.
Uh, Number one, we've done, which is generative. Number two, we are into agentic right now. And number three is the robotic or the mechanical tasks. I am actually scared of level 4, which no one mentions, is when
Was
AI
that?
takes over the world. I mean, something like a matrix. Think about the
Hmm.
matrix. And I'll tell you one more thing. I mean, this is, I mean, I know you'll call me a conspiracy theorist or something, but there was recently, I read an article where a scientist has, quote unquote, uh, proven to a certain level in a paper. And I know this is like probably a few months ago, but I read it just last week. And this is University of Portsmouth, where he has published scientific evidence for a philosophical theory which is called the simulation hypothesis. I don't know, have you heard
Yes.
of simulation hypothesis ever?
Yes, I've heard of simulation hypothesis mix, but would you be kind enough to explain it to our viewers?
I mean, so simulation hypothesis in a nutshell is basically that the entire universe is a simulation,
Yeah,
which is we are living inside. So think about a very short analogy would be that just like we play video games and there are characters inside the video game, simulation hypothesis says that our universe, what we call the universe, is inside someone else's simulation or someone else's video game.
yeah, yeah.
So that is, so someone has proven to some extent that there is a simulation. We are inside a simulation. We are not in outside the simulation as we think.
Yes,
And here's the thing, that everything that we see are basically illusions, virtual reality and things like that. It's nothing is real.
yeah. And if you
And
take
if
it back to
and before
Gita,
you call me all these names, I have to tell you that, do you know Elon Musk believes in things like this,
yes.
that we are inside a
So yeah,
simulation.
yeah. Simulation theory is a very hot topic in Silicon Valley, and people have a simple way to prove it. They say that look at the games nowadays; they look so real. Some of these games and the players, the software players inside the games, they don't know that they're in a game. For them, that is their life. Now, just take that 1,000 years forward, and in 1,000 years, those players who are playing the game will think that that is their life. And Stanford University did an experiment where they took small LLMs and they made a game where each player in the game had an LLM as their brain, and they made a village which had shops and all that. And the LLMs or the players, they started to form relationships, they started to getting married, and they had a life. And for them, that was their reality. So, so yeah, if you take the progression of what we have seen in the last 100 years after electricity came into our lives, if you take it 1,000 years forward, it seems very obvious that the characters in the game will think the game is reality. And what if we are
I might
characters?
even say, I mean, just flip that. So assuming, and this is the starting null hypothesis, right, which we have to prove or disprove, which are we in a simulation or not? And if we dial back 5,000 years or 10,000 years, even in some of these old Indian scriptures,
Yes,
they talk about, I mean, what's that favorite quote of one of our friends? Sab moh maya hai, right? That
yes,
is what says, that we are all
yes,
part of the same thing. It, whatever we see,
yes,
and in some ways, and I know I'm stretching it. I'm literally stretching it on a very thin thread, but there is a
yes,
bit of overlap when in the Gita, in the Mahabharata, in the Gita, when Krishna ji says to Arjun that
yes,
Arjun, none of this, you are not controlling anything. Everything is going to happen. You are just
yes,
doing your thing. So it makes me feel okay, there might be some overlap out here.
yes.
But
And
anyways, this is interesting to read, and I have heard of this, but this is the first time it has sparked my interest so much last week when I read this, that they are on the way to prove it.
yes,
Anyways, so the scarier part of this simulation hypothesis is, what if someone decides to shut the game down?
yes, yes.
And say, okay, no, no, this is not working. This is not working. Press restart.
Yes, and I think Elon Musk says that he tries to predict the future by saying what will be the most entertaining outcome to the spectator. He says whenever he can't figure out what will happen, he tries to say, okay, which outcome would be the most entertaining to the spectator, and he says that those are the outcomes that usually end up happening. So, so if there's a spectator and if we are a simulated game, then the most interesting outcome to the spectator is what ends up happening.
Absolutely. I think that spectator kind of thing, what Trump and Musk are doing in the US, that's a topic for our Friday podcast. And that's why it's interesting. I mean, maybe we agree with some of that, maybe we disagree with some of that, but it's interesting. That's why, once again, if you want to hear more about it, we discuss that on Friday at this time.
Yes,
Time. But moving on, Vix. There's one more thing that when Jensen Huang says that the second stage is agentic,
yes,
I'm there is one more thing that caught my mind. Everyone is doing agentic. We quite discussed that last week about OpenAI is developing their own DIY agent toolkit. Have you heard of that?
yes, I've heard of that. Yes,
The OpenAI toolkit. I think we need to go through that on this maybe next week. Is That is lovely. They have a DIY agent tools right on
yes.
OpenAI. Obviously, you need a bit of some premium membership, or you need their API connections to fully use it. But that is the if they are giving it, what does that mean for all these hundreds of startups that are basically all they are doing is taking OpenAI and similar LLMs and then putting a wrapper on it and calling themselves
So,
an AI company if OpenAI is going to give it anyways.
so no, I think this is the big tension of this era. Whether the value lies, who will capture the value? Whether NVIDIA will capture the value, whether the foundation model makers like Grok and Anthropic and OpenAI, whether they will capture value, or guys who like rappers like me, whether we will capture value. So that's the question of this era.
Yeah. And even companies like Adobe, I mean, the last company you would expect in the world to, they have a whole agentic tool. They've got like more than 100 agents, and you can pick and choose that.
Okay. Yeah, I
So,
haven't.
and the reason I'm mentioning that is just a few weeks ago, I was talking to some startups, first intro meetings and
Yes,
20-minute pitch meetings that I
yes,
have with a lot of startups who are looking for investment. I came across over the last 2 or 3 weeks two startups who are broadly in this field, which is taking something like to do with image and then
okay,
building a wrapper around it, which is useful for the customer.
okay,
But then, as I was doing, this is how I came across what Adobe is doing. When I came across it, I was like, if Adobe themselves are doing this, what's the need for one more company, one more startup, one more team of three looking for a few millions from me and other VCs?
yes,
Why don't we just invest in Adobe's share? Now, I'm not
yes,
suggesting about to people to either buy or sell Adobe shares, but it was a question that came to me.
yes,
What's the use? So we will. I'm watching this space. I know you're watching this space, uh, but it's worth evaluating. We will probably discuss more about this every week.
yes, we will.
Where is that
So,
value?
yeah. So, Miglani, we started the show by saying that we'll do a Manus demo, and we are reaching our 30-minute self-imposed.
Let's do a very quick, a 5 or 10 minute demo, Vix.
Okay,
Is that
okay.
fine?
So let me, yeah, that's
Please
fine
show us.
with me.
I'm literally, yeah. We get caught up in our conversations, don't we?
And that's interesting part of it. Uh, okay. Can you see the screen, Miglani?
I will add it.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, we can all
Okay,
see the screen.
perfect, perfect. So I'm going to. Do you have a question that you want to ask this AI?
I am just trying to make this better, but it's only getting worse. So we'll go with this. So tell me. So this is the first screen. You've logged
Yes.
in. Obviously, you've taken it. Firstly, tell me how is this different?
So
I mean, you were
you
saying this
see,
is more
like,
agentic. I mean, this is how a screen, maybe a slightly different UI or user
no, no,
interface,
you have to
but
you
it.
have to see it. You have to see it.
Hmm,
Like, let me run this. So this is the question I'm giving. Okay, I would like a
what is that?
thorough analysis of Tesla stock, including summary, financial data, market sentiment, technical analysis, compare assets,
Okay.
and value investor. Okay.
But we could also ask this to OpenAI. I've
Yeah,
done things
yeah,
like
but
this.
sure. But look, it's creating a shell. It's writing. It's creating a markdown file. It's uh, ma- it's evaluating market sentiments, performing technical analysis.
Hmm.
So, so this is almost like a like an agent is saying, look, these are the so look, uh, I'll help you. It is showing you what it is doing, and this actually has access to a running computer, and it's using that computer to create notes for itself and all that. Like,
Vix, you have to take a step back because I'm
yes,
losing you. So,
okay,
what is it
okay,
doing? Uh,
okay.
and
So,
you have to tell me, explain to me, why is this something that ChatGPT doesn't already do?
so, so, so it's not that ChatGPT doesn't do ChatGPT does do it in uh, some ways. Like ChatGPT has an operator product
Hmm.
which does it. But what they have basically done is that they're given access to a computer to the AI, and what the computer did is first it made a to-do file, okay, and in the
Okay.
to-do file it said gather Tesla company overview, collect basic information, ticker exchange, get company profile and business summary, collect Tesla financial data,
So
analyze
that
market
makes to me
sentiment.
looks like
Yes,
so it's broken it down into steps, and
yes,
now this is almost as if uh, I was like head of research for my company, and I've given it to an analyst and saying, "Can you make this for me?" And
yes,
this is what the analyst would do. It's got all the
yes.
steps broken down. I'm going to do this.
Yes, exactly. So, and like we were talking about agentic behavior last time, we said it will form its own subtasks, right? So this is
Yes.
what it did. It formed its own subtasks, and then it said, uh,
Can you change these subtasks at this point?
yes, yes, I should be able to change it. I don't know
Okay.
how to
Be-
change it. Look, if I
Yeah, because that's how humans behave. I'm trying to
yes,
take this forward. As a human, if I tell one of my employees to do something for me,
yes,
a lot of times, if the task is a bit complicated, I would ask
yes,
them, or they would themselves say, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. Is that what you are
yes,
looking for? And then I say, you
yes,
know what? Do one, two, four, and five, but number three, please change it like this.
yes. So so it created a subtask, and then look at this. Look at the end. It does all that, and then at the end it says provide public URL for the dashboard, right? If I yeah, so at the end it's supposed to provide me yeah. So it provided me this dashboard. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And the dashboard is pretty good actually. Investment recommendations for value investors: avoid income speculative are buying and ESG is buying, and growth investors a whole valuation analysis, bear case, base case, and the bull case. And this is the current price. Tesla revenue and net income. The revenue has gone up from 24 billion in 2019 to 96 billion in 2023. Technical analysis, Tesla price and the moving average, market
So now
position.
the thing is, I'm going back to my previous question, what we were discussing before this demo,
Yes,
is I bet there are about more than 100 companies in the last 1 year who have come up, taken your some LLM and created this, that we are going to give you this.
yes,
And they are trying to sell to a lot of either direct customers or intermediaries, saying, why don't we do our sell side reports for your customers if you pay
yes,
me X dollars per report?
yes. But the
Right?
thing is that Manus is a generic product. I did a Tesla analysis. I could
Exactly,
have
but think
easily,
about it this way. Think about it. I'm saying that if Manus can do this,
yes,
suddenly, in my view, those 100 companies who have made something like this, they don't have a business anymore.
exactly. They don't have a business anymore. You're very right. Like if Manus can do this, and let's look at the Tesla price right now. It's 235. Yeah, and it gave us a 284. I have to see why it made a
Because
mistake here,
it
but
did
yeah.
not take any skills to give the
Yes,
prompts. All you did right now in front of us is just say analyze Tesla, and the agents within this, within Manus,
yes,
created its own task list, then did
yes,
all the tasks,
yes.
and after that it combined it and gave you your final recommendation. What else
Yeah,
can it do? What else can it do?
sure. So let me say, so there's this idea of momentum investing in the market, which says that when the market goes up, it continues to go up, right? And when it goes down, it continues to go down. To explain momentum investing to me with interactive tools. Let's see what it does.
But Vix, this is one more information and research kind of thing. Information and
Okay,
research type of agents have existed. I mean, they're not really agents. I mean, it's a higher level of just LLM work, like dig
sure.
and present.
So
Can it actually do a task?
sure. So let's try that. I'm gonna uh, while it is doing all that,
Yeah.
we're gonna open another box here. We'll close this, go back here, and we'll say,
If you scroll down, let's see what all examples, featured examples they give.
sure.
Is there, yeah. What about go live? Click on live. I want to see what is the day-to-day life. Can they help us? At the top, next to featured, there is a tab called life.
Okay.
Trip to Japan in April.
Mhm.
Buy real estate in New York. Okay, let's do a lease contract, right? Yeah, let's buy real estate in New York. Vix, how do you say?
Okay. It's still doing this. The thing that I liked quite a lot was this one I want to show you, which is Manus develops engaging video presentations for middle school educators, clearly explaining the momentum theory through accessible and educational content. So it can even uh, create videos. So let me click on this. Let's see what this does.
Because that's the thing. I mean, from just these 5 or 10 examples that I can see on screen, I can
Yeah,
think of at least 1,000 startups who have started up in the last 6 months using uh, a wrapper on Claude or
exactly.
ChatGPT.
So this is
They
also
are
a
out of
wrapper on
business, in
Claude.
my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. So this is also a wrapper on Claude. They have not written their own AI model. Like each
But
of
they've written a
this,
wrapper to create 100
yes,
wrappers.
yes, yes.
And are they giving it for free? Do you have to buy some subscription?
Uh, so for the time being, I just applied to get accepted on the waiting list, and I got accepted. And at some point, I think they will ask us to buy some subscription, but not right now.
Okay.
So it actually created a video and basic collision, elastic collision play. Look, it's able to make these. Uh, that's pretty cool, right? And basic collision, I can play this.
Wait, what is this?
It's trying to explain conservation of momentum, middle school physics,
Okay.
real world examples.
Is there a voiceover also, or what is
No,
it?
there is no voiceover in this version,
Mm.
but that's the thing about computers. Like, it's not going to take a lot of effort to add voice to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I
And
definitely, I'm like quite intrigued. I was already interested, but now
yes,
after seeing these two, three examples that you've shown us, I am quite intrigued. I'm definitely going to try this. During the week, or latest
yes,
by the weekend, and yeah, maybe next Wednesday let's share our views on what are the positives, what are the negatives, and what I'm most interested in, what is the future of all these wrapper type of AI companies. Is there any need?
yes,
Is there any need? People spend a lot of time, people spend a lot of money, people spend a lot of their professional future in doing this,
yes,
but if in one click someone like this is
yes,
going to say that all your 18 months of startup hard work is useless because
Yes,
I can do it at a click. What's the
yes,
point?
yes. So momentum investing explained with interactive tools is
Mm.
still going on working. And this
Yeah.
was the Jason's idea, NVIDIA CEO and founder's idea that look, it's no longer one shot. It's no longer GPT gives you an answer and you're done. Like this is still going on. The AI is still working for us, and the GPUs are still churning, producing the heat, and NVIDIA is making money, is earning money. So and Manus is using Anthropic's LLM, so it's not like it has to it developed its own LLM. It just is basically the first question to the LLM is, can you give me the subtasks? And then the next question to the LLM is, now do the first task. The next question to the LLM is, now do the second task.
Mm.
And so,
Very good. Very
so
good. I'm definitely going to do it. And I think let's compare notes next week again, as
yes,
you dig more into it. But you know what I think? By the
yes.
time of next week, today Manus is like the biggest story, and it's the biggest. I think Manus is going to get disrupted by the time we get on to next Wednesday. That
Yeah,
is
it might
my
get
thing.
disrupted. Like just imagine, less than a month ago, DeepSeek was such a huge thing,
Yeah,
and now DeepSeek is not a huge thing, and
it's
now
not a
Manus
huge
is a
thing
huge
because
thing.
there are 5 or 10 others who can also now do what DeepSeek did.
Exactly. Have you used Grok yet, Maglani?
I keep using, I keep changing, moving between different things. I am yet to form an opinion on whether it's better or worse than anything else.
Sure.
But yeah, I keep testing everything because it's useful in my work and what we are building, which at some point, maybe
Yes.
in the future, I will also share in this in our
Yeah,
AI
that'd be
webinar.
great. You should share what you're doing here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right now, as they say, it's kind of in stealth mode. So
Yeah, good.
we'll do it.
And you're a perfectionist, Maglani. You don't release anything till it's passes your own benchmarks, which are very high.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure that it won't get disrupted by just some manners coming tomorrow and saying, okay, this is not
Yeah,
useful.
yeah.
Right, right.
So we live in very interesting times, and what else? You know, we all got limited time on this God's beautiful earth, and God decided us to live in interesting times. So that's good.
Perfect. If there is a God and we are not in a simulation.
And we're not in someone's game here.
Or maybe we are in God's simulation. So, on that
Yes,
note, thank you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining on Wednesday. We'll see you again on Friday. If you're interested in current affairs, we are about to launch, as I promised last time, we are about to launch our season two, and it's going to come this weekend. Our season two, um, well, I won't tell you more about that. You'll just have to keep an eye on the channel. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the bell button, it will tell you the notification whenever a new video or a new live telecast happens. And on that note,
perfect.
enjoy the rest of the week and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Bye.